Hey there, I hope you're doing well. My name is Adam and today we're going to look at some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy Reddit stories, consider liking, subscribing, and maybe hitting that notification bell too. Let's get started with today's first story. Much love, everyone. Today's first story comes from my sister stole my fiance, then I married someone better. Sister snatched my fiance, now she's stunned. I married someone way better. Alright, let me tell you a story about my sister Olivia, and I'm just going to use her real name because why not? So Olivia did something pretty shocking. Basically, she managed to charm my fiancé away from me because she thought he was too good-looking and rich to be with someone like me, who she thinks is just plain. Olivia always thought he deserved someone super pretty like her, so she made her move and guess what, he fell for it and ended up marrying her, honestly. It turned out for the best because it showed me he was a cheater, and I ended up finding someone way better for me. But let's rewind and go way back like 15 years ago, when I was about 26. Now I'm 41. Olivia is 6 years younger than me, and we're like night and day. She's always been the center of attention at family and social events, making sure everyone notices her. She's definitely pretty, no one can deny that. She's got this stunning look, and she's super proud of it. Olivia never misses a chance to show off and look down on people who she thinks don't meet her standards of beauty. That includes me. She's always criticized the way I dress and made fun of me because I'm not all that social. When we were kids, I was the one you'd find buried in books and comics, while Olivia was probably trying on outfits or messing with makeup. I never even had a Barbie doll. Olivia and I just didn't connect like sisters usually do. She saw herself as a fashion icon, and to her, I was just plain old me. And in a way, she wasn't totally wrong. I'm someone who likes simple things. No big dramatic scenes for attention. I'm calm and like having my own quiet space. From very early on, I left home after high school, and I couldn't be more relieved. Who wants to be around an entitled brat? Life was pretty much fun with my busy schedule in medical school. I used to visit home during holidays or spring break, and even then, I kept my trips short. Things got straightened out with Olivia, as we had minimal encounters. Olivia dropped out of high school to pursue a career in fashion. Later again, she dropped out of fashion school for a modeling career. Since I was in touch with her, she got 2 photo shoot projects from a local apparel brand in 5 years. I'm not sure if you can call this a successful modeling career, which she often refers to. If you think I mean it, hold on. After I moved out of the house, the bitterness between Olivia and me subsided. We met twice a year for a few days. She didn't get enough opportunity to piss me off, so we were cool. In my freshman year in college, I met Smith. He was quite senior to me. He was pursuing his master's while I was still a freshman for a bachelor's degree. Besides, he had a couple of years of hands-on experience as a duty doctor. He was specializing as a heart specialist, one of the most reputed specializations. And a cherry on the cake, he was handsome. He used to give lessons on the subject of the circulatory system to freshman students to earn some extra bucks and brush up his knowledge. He was popular for his simple teaching methods, more popular amongst the girls, because who doesn't want to take lessons from a blue-eyed, 6 feet 2 inches lean and well-built university senior? I also took lessons from him, and eventually, we started dating. In my final year of college, he proposed to me after dating him for 4 years. I had no reason to say no. He was already working at the hospital by then. During the holidays when I went home, my mom saw the ring on my finger and asked in some happy moments of festivities. I told her everything. She jumped in excitement because it's not usual that I get serious with anyone. Smith was the first guy I ever dated or had sex with. Mom asked me the details about Smith because she sniffed a marriage on the cards. Olivia often used to say that I'm never going to find a good man to marry me. By good, she meant rich and handsome. Whenever she got to know that I was seeing a guy, she would remark, he's going to run away, your relationship won't even last for a week. So when Olivia got to know about Smith, her eyes lit up, and she wanted to know more about him. It was kind of unusual for her to take an interest in my life, because it had always been very boring. I asked her, "Why do you want to know about him?" and she said, "He's going to be family, so I should know him." Mom asked me to call him for dinner on New Year's Eve. Later, I got to know that Olivia had asked Mom to invite Smith. We didn't have any plans for that year, so Smith agreed to tag along. When we reached home, we were greeted by Olivia. It was quite surprising because Olivia is a party person. She's never seen at home on the weekends on New Year's. She was off for a week-long party with her friends, but this time she was at home. Quite surprising, should have been alarming, right? But I didn't get bothered. I don't give a crap about other lives. I went home with Smith, and my sister was floored by Smith. Her first comment was, "I thought you'd be rich, but you're handsome too." Her flirtatious gestures weren't just so evident. It was right on my face, yet I didn't take any heed. I was secure in my relationship throughout the evening. She made moves at him by complimenting him, trivially touching his arms and thighs unnecessarily, and forcing a conversation with him. She sat next to him at the dinner table. I gave her a look and she made a cute pout and said, "You get to sit with him every day. Today I can be his arm candy." Everyone chuckled, and we took it as light fun. During the conversation, she got to know that Smith goes for a walk after his dinner. As soon as he cleared up after the dinner, she offered to give him a tour of the neighborhood. Smith looked at me. While I sat there with a straight face, not knowing what to say, Smith replied with an awkward yes, and they both went out for a walk that night. While we were driving back from my parents' place, Smith asked me if I noticed how Olivia was flirting with him. I laughed and brushed it off, saying she's an attention seeker. I thought Smith wasn't so shallow that he would fall for superficial beauty, but dang, he did. He was equally seized by Olivia's charm, and he cheated at the first opportunity he got a few months later. I had my final year exams as usual. I cut down on our hangouts to focus on my studies. Eventually, I found him cutting down the communication. When I confronted him, he said he wanted me to focus on my finals. I was too busy to suspect any foul play. On the last day of my exam, I asked him to pick me up from college. He said he was busy. Later that night, I called him to check up on him. He said he was home, but he was too tired and ready to doze off. I went to his place to surprise him, but it was locked. I called him again, but he didn't respond. I waited for his call the next day, but he didn't call back. Shamelessly, I called him again and asked him why he lied the last night. He said he forgot to mention that he had crashed at his colleague's place. Stupid me didn't read this to be any kind of a signal. How would I? This was the first time anything like this had happened to me. This continued for a week until I lost my marbles and came back to my senses. I asked him point blank if he wanted to break up with me. He hesitated for a few seconds before murmuring a yes. He said he no longer loved me. That was it. The last conversation we ever had. I didn't ask what, when, or how. Heartbreak is always painful, and that too without any reason, even more so. He left me with a sense of insecurity, self-doubt, and many unanswered questions, which he didn't answer, and neither did I ask. It took months and many bottles of single malt whiskey, but eventually, I moved on. Glad that he broke up after my finals, so I would have taken one more year to finish medical school. 7 months later, I get a call from Olivia and she invited me to her engagement. I congratulated her and asked about the guy. She didn't say the name and asked me to come to the party and meet him in person. I was happy for her. Yes, it saddened me for a while that I was supposed to be married during that time, but I was single and nursing my breakup. I tried to forget my miserable life and showed up at my sister's engagement. As soon as I entered the venue, I saw the board, Olivia Smith. Oh my goodness. It gave me shivers down my spine, but I calmed myself down saying Smith is too common of a name. He might be someone else. But as I went inside, I ran into two of Smith's friends. They turned to the other side when they saw me coming. My heartbeat raised as I went near the podium where Olivia was supposed to be sitting with her fiancé. The moment I saw Smith sitting with her, his arms wrapped around hers, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there with tears in my eyes. The next thing I remember was my mom pulling me to a corner and asking me to be quiet. She asked me not to create a scene there and let everyone be happy. She said no one knows about her past and she would like to keep it that way. I cried out loud and yelled, "You know everything and you let this happen. Olivia is a witch. You are all evil. You are all in this together." By then I saw Olivia coming over with an evil smile. It was like 15 years ago, yet I remember every word of hers so clearly. That was the most humiliating moment of my life. She said, "You thought you could have this man," pointing towards Smith, "handsome, tall, rich. Are you so plain? No way. You don't deserve him. You deserve someone plain like yourself. You see how beautiful we look together and how people are adoring us. Oh my goodness, such a cute couple, huh? Everyone would have laughed seeing you beside him. Man, my goodness, what a horrible person." I wanted to slap her right across the face, but my mom stopped me and asked me to leave. She thought I was there to stop the engagement. She was yelling at me, "Why did you come here? Don't you have any self-respect?" I said, "I didn't know this witch is effing him. Had I known, I would have never shown my face." Olivia denied having invited me. She lied to my mom that she didn't invite me. Mom had asked her not to invite me because I would be hurt, but Olivia deliberately invited me to humiliate me. I left the place bawling and howling. My breakup pain bounced back. It would have been an understatement to say that it was difficult. It was the most traumatic phase of my life, the lowest point, I would say. Luckily, I graduated with good grades and got into a good hospital with hectic duty hours and barely got time to think about anything. I deliberately kept myself busy on off days. I moved. Years later, I met my husband at work. He is a board member of the hospital chain that I work for. We dated for 4 years and got married, and now we are proud parents of 2 kids. Fast forward to a week ago, and I got a call from an unknown number. I answered the call and the person identified herself as Olivia. Even after hearing her name, it took me a few seconds to realize she was my sister. P.S. A few of my patients' names are also Olivia. I asked her why she called me. She was acting all sweet, asking about my life and all. The Olivia that I know wouldn't spare a second on me without any motive, and I said, "Cut the crap and say what you want." She remained silent for a moment and said, "Actually, I need your help. My husband, Smith, has gotten into trouble. A patient got a post-surgery allergy, and the hospital might sack him." I was like, "What can I do about it?" She said that Smith worked at one of the hospital chains whose board member is my husband, so my husband could save him from any severe punishment. By then, I zoned out. I snapped at her to not ever call me again and that we were not going to help them. I didn't know that Smith was working at the same hospital chain as me. He was working at a different location. I looked him up on the employee portal of the hospital and found Smith, but his current status showed suspended. I wanted to discuss this with my husband, but I didn't want to dig out my past, so I let it slide. 2 days back, my mom showed up at my door. It felt like I had seen a ghost. I'd cut them off since Olivia's engagement day. She hugged me and cried, saying it was so good to see me after so many years, but I knew that her underlying motive behind all this sweetness was to save Smith. But my husband was home at the time. He heard about my mom's plea for helping her golden son-in-law. My husband said Smith is accused of medical negligence and there's an ongoing investigation against him. He said there's nothing he could do, and even if he could, he wouldn't do it. He doesn't exercise power for personal benefit. My mom bit her lips and left without saying a word. Yesterday my husband came back from work and said that Smith's investigation had been concluded. He would be sacked from his job, but my husband has the power to let him retain his medical license against a hefty penalty amount. He said he could ask the other board members to go lenient on Smith and not forward his case to state healthcare for further investigation. Now I'm in a fix. Should I forget my humiliation and help Smith, or should I make him pay the price for his deeds? I mean, being a doctor, I know how difficult it is to get a medical degree, and losing the license is the worst thing that can happen to a doctor. You just need to do what you feel is right and what you can live with. Now for the updates. Update 1. There was no need to post it here and get the opinion of you guys. What Olivia and my mother did after they made it clear that they don't deserve any of my help. They're anything but narcissistic. Olivia and Mom have been hurling abuses at me on social media. I don't use Facebook much, but this week when I opened it, I found I was tagged on several posts by Olivia, where she called me a vindictive witch reframing her husband. She has written a long post, claiming that I was jealous of her because Smith dumped me and married her, and I was doing all this to avenge my betrayal. My mom had also jumped on the bandwagon and said that I had abused them and cut them off because I couldn't stand Smith. Getting married to Olivia, extended family had taken their side and commented that I was taking revenge too far by ripping off Smith's livelihood. Even Smith has commented that I was delusional and that he never loved me, never proposed to me, and always loved Olivia. Like what the F? I immediately untagged myself and blocked them. I told my husband not to spare Smith from any of the charges. In fact, he should be punished to the maximum for each of his felonies. My husband gave me a smirking look and said he had never seen me this angry. So Smith was officially sacked from the hospital, and his case had been forwarded to the state healthcare department for license cancellation. A fresh investigation will be conducted by the government body, and if he is found guilty of the charges the hospital is claiming, he will lose his license and also go to prison. That's like a cherry on the cake. I'll update as the situation progresses. Right now, I'm enjoying the drama with a basket of popcorn. Yum yum. Edit, small clarification, Olivia and my mom were not added to my social media account. The thing is, I have an open account, so anybody can tag me in their posts. I had not blocked them earlier because 15 years ago I wasn't using social media. Now they are blocked from social media and also my life. Update 2. How low can a person stoop now? I know. Smith showed up at my workplace. Like I said, he worked at the same hospital chain as me, but at a different location. He posed as a patient and came inside my chamber. He knew that there was no way that I would have met him if he had come to see me. I immediately asked him to leave. He said that he had paid a fee to consult me. So as a doctor, I should treat him. Fair enough. I listened to his problems while swiftly switching on the voice recorder on my phone. I did this so that he couldn't trap me in another mess, and I'm glad that I did. He was faking his health condition, saying that he had gotten the flu and all. I acted professionally and gave him the medication as per the symptoms. But he wasn't ready to leave and unnecessarily asked stupid questions. He started flirting. I asked him to stop and leave. He said, I wanted to apologize to you long back. I didn't intend to hurt you, but your sister trapped me and made me sleep with her. Then she blackmailed me to marry her or else she would press molestation charges on me. I asked him to stop right there because all he spoke was complete BS. I could have called security on him, but I was really enjoying his desperation. Revenge is so sweet. I tell you, I heard him out with a satisfied, wide smile. He went on to say, I know you still love me, that's why you're still hurt and want to take revenge. Honestly, I still feel for you. I regret marrying Olivia. If you can convince your husband to save me from prison time, I promise I'll leave Olivia and be your lover. You don't need to leave your husband, but we can secretly have our own thing. That douchebag had the audacity to say this. I burst out in laughter and called security on him, asking him to leave. He had no idea that he was being recorded. The disappointment on his face was so satisfying. He thought he convinced me. I texted Olivia and wanted to send her the recordings of her low-life husband. I said, "Your loser husband visited my clinic, posing as a patient." She said, "I know, he tells me everything. We also know that you still love him. I can let you sleep with him for the night if you can save his license and prison time." Her response blew my mind. No point in talking to her any further. They are together in this dirty game. I told my husband about this and he was aghast. He said he would have sued him for offering bribes, but it would dig out my painful past. I said, "I'll let him handle one charge at a time, but I'm going to do my bit to exact my revenge." I added Olivia Smith, my mom, and other relatives on Facebook. Olivia Smith accepted it at once. Maybe they took it as a positive sign from me. Then I wrote a long post about how Olivia Smith and my mom had been trying to manipulate me to help Smith avoid prison time. I attached the screenshot of the conversation with Olivia. I also turned on the voice recordings into a still video, with Smith and Olivia's pictures, with a voice running in the background, and uploaded it. That post blew up with comments. I blocked Olivia Smith and Mom because I knew they would retaliate. My extended family and relatives expressed their disgust about Olivia offering to let Smith hook up with me to get away with his negligence. Olivia and my mom tried to contact me, but I had blocked their calls and voicemails. I spent the whole of yesterday and today reading the comments on the post. People have gone to the next level, trolling Olivia and Smith. My weekend couldn't be better. Story: my sister and her husband are buying a boat so they can live as nomads on the ocean. I'm really worried for my sister and her husband. TLDR, my sister and her husband have decided to buy a boat and live on the ocean. They have never seen the ocean or been on a boat before and they can't even swim. I think this is a terrible idea. I think so too, but my sister won't listen to anyone who doesn't agree with this. For some background information, so my post makes sense. My family is from Saskatchewan, Canada. There is a river that is sort of near where we live, and there is a lake a few hours away from here that my parents took my sister and me to a couple of times when we were younger. But we live in a landlocked province in the middle of the prairies. It's the exact same situation for my sister's husband. My sister is married. They had planned on buying a house after the wedding because their lease would be expiring, and my sister told me that they are tired of renting, but that's all changed. They have announced they are going to buy a boat and live as nomads. Their word, not mine. It was my sister who had the idea and her husband got on board right away. I don't know where this came from. Neither of them has ever talked about owning a boat. They have already quit their jobs and are donating and giving away almost all of their things. My sister told me they had just over $70,000 saved for their down payment. Now, instead of buying a house, they are going to use it to buy a sailboat and sail all over the world. They say they will do odd and remote jobs if they need money, but otherwise they are heading for the freedom of the ocean. Again, they use that word, not me. Sounds like they watched Captain Ron or something. When they announced their plan, I was shocked. I thought they were kidding. I think this is a terrible idea. Their only experience with water is having been to a lake a couple of times when they were kids, and a lake here in Saskatchewan is not the same as the ocean. Neither of them has ever been outside of Saskatchewan before, not shaming them, because I haven't either. Neither of them has ever been on a boat before. Neither of them has ever seen the ocean, and neither of them knows how to swim. I think this is such a stupid idea. My sister and her husband aren't kids. They are both adults older than 35. Apparently, my sister's husband has a sister who made them see a doctor because of how out of character. This is because, but all the tests came back clean. His sister is as against this as I am. Another thing that shocked me is what my sister told me about having kids before the wedding. She said that they wanted to have kids as soon as possible, given their age. I thought this would change their plan to buy a boat, but my sister says they still want to have kids and she doesn't see why she can't be pregnant or why they can't raise kids on a boat. My sister wasn't happy when I asked her what she was thinking or when I told her it was a stupid idea. I realize that she and her husband can do whatever they want with their lives, but I'm honestly scared for them. I can think of so many ways this can go wrong. I'm afraid that they will get hurt or killed. They're dead set and dig their heels in whenever anybody tells them that this is a bad idea. I know I can't control what other people do, but I'm so worried and scared. Update 3. Hello again, everyone. It's been a tumultuous few weeks since I last shared about the ordeal with my sister Olivia, her husband Smith, and the chaos that ensued. Life certainly hasn't been dull, and today, I'm here to bring you up to speed on the latest developments. After the unbelievable proposal from Olivia and the blatant manipulation attempts by my mother, I was resolute in my decision not to intervene on Smith's behalf. The aftermath of that decision was both freeing and chaotic. Olivia and my mother escalated their efforts by taking to social media to vilify me, painting me as the vengeful sibling. It was painful to see, but I stood firm, supported by the solid foundation of my own family and principles. Smith's audacity reached new heights when he showed up at my clinic under the guise of a patient. This was a blatant attempt to emotionally blackmail me into helping him save his career. I maintained professionalism, but the encounter left me shaken. It was a stark reminder of how manipulative and desperate he had become. Olivia's callousness was laid bare when she suggested I could have a night with Smith if I helped him. This was not only morally repugnant but also showed how low she would stoop to protect what she considered hers. It was a surreal moment that cemented my decision to cut ties permanently. After these incidents, I took steps to ensure there would be no further breaches of my peace. I changed my contact information, tightened my social media privacy settings, and informed my workplace of the potential for further disturbances. These measures have given me a much-needed sense of security and control. The investigation into Smith's professional conduct concluded with his dismissal and the forwarding of his case to the State Healthcare Board. This outcome, while severe, was justified based on his actions. It was a difficult chapter to close but necessary for the integrity of the medical profession and my own peace of mind. The rift within the family has deepened. Unfortunately, my mother and Olivia have isolated themselves with their narrative, convincing some of my more distant relatives of their twisted version of events. It's painful to see a family divided, but I've come to accept that not everyone will see things clearly or choose to stand by what's right. Through all of this, I've learned a great deal about resilience and the importance of boundaries. My therapist has been instrumental in helping me navigate these emotional waters, affirming that, while I cannot control others' actions, I can control my response and maintain my dignity and self-respect. Looking ahead, I'm focusing on my family and career. My husband and children have been my rock, and I'm reminded daily of the love and stability they provide. I've also taken up a new hobby, painting, which has been a wonderful outlet for expression and stress relief. Thank you all for your support and kind words throughout this ordeal. Your encouragement has been a beacon of hope in these dark times. As I turn the page on this chapter, I look forward to brighter days ahead, filled with peace and positive growth. Here's to finding strength in the face of adversity and moving forward with grace. I'm going to turn this one over to you. What do you make of this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time mean the world to me. So, thank you so much for being part of this. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.